watching a live special presentation, the 2019 Alberta Leaders Debate, with your host, Tara Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us for the 2019 Alberta Leaders Debate. This is an opportunity for you to learn more about the leaders' visions for the future of our province. I'm Tara Nelson from CTV Calgary, and we're welcoming viewers from across the province and the nation this evening. This broadcast was organized by a consortium of media outlets, CTV, CBC, Post Media, and Rogers, and it is going out live across the province and the country on TV, radio, the web, and social media platforms. I will be moderating tonight's debate, coming to you from the CTV Edmonton studios. We have just 90 minutes for the leaders to discuss their platforms and convince you why they should be the next premier of this province. So let's get down to business and welcome the four contenders. We have invited the four leaders of the parties which elected members to the legislature. From the Alberta Party, Stephen Mandel. From the New Democratic Party, Rachel Notley. From the Liberal Party, David Kahn. And from the United Conservative Party, Jason Kenney. Welcome to all of you tonight. Let me introduce you next to our panel who will be putting the leaders on the hot seat tonight. From CBC, Provincial Affairs reporter Kim Trinacity. From Post Media, legislative reporter Emma Graney. From Rogers, City News Edmonton reporter Courtney Theriault. And from CTV Edmonton, News at 6 anchor Aaron Isfeld. So this is how the debate will work tonight. The leaders will have 1 minute each for an opening statement. Then we will begin with questions from our panel, questions that are based on suggestions sent to us by viewers across the province. We thank the many Albertans who sent them in. Each leader will have 45 seconds to respond. And then we will be opening the floor for a free debate involving everyone. This is going to be the format for every question. And we will conclude the debate with closing statements, again, with equal time for each leader. Now, the leaders have not been provided the questions ahead of time. They have been told which themes we will touch on. Leaders, you can see that you have a clock in front of you, so you can see how much time you have left. We will be strict on the timed segments, so it's equitable for everyone, and also so that we can have a little more flexibility during the free debate. Now, to decide which leader would speak first, we did a draw, and Rachel Notley from the NDP will begin. So, Ms. Notley, you have 1 minute.
Good evening. I started this campaign by asking who is fit to be your premier. There are some who want to give big corporations a big tax gift while cutting wages and putting our schools and hospitals into harm's way. I disagree. I will diversify the economy, fight for jobs and pipelines, and defend our schools and our hospitals. There are some who want to go back to old ideas that have failed and have left us in a difficult situation. I am focused on the future, on going to where the puck is going to be, not where it was. And there are those who are beholden to extreme fringe groups who want to invite that extremism into your government. I believe that equality is a fundamental Alberta value, and we are better when we stick together. Alberta is at a crossroads, and we have a big decision to make. I ask for your support.
Thank you, Ms. Notley. Now, Jason Kenney from the United Conservative Party, you have 1 minute.
Welcome to what I hope will be a good discussion about how to get Alberta back to work. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? For too many Albertans, the answer is no. For 4 years, we've lived through economic decline and stagnation. Nearly 200,000 Albertans are out of work and 43,000 more looking for work than when the NDP came in. Family incomes are way down and bankruptcies are up. Behind these numbers is the human cost on people's lives. More crime victims, more addiction, mental health challenges. This election is about those people and how to get them back to work. How to create jobs, grow our economy, build pipelines, and stand up to those like Justin Trudeau and the special interests who have landlocked our energy. Tonight, I'll be talking about our plan for positive change. Change that replaces a high-tax, high-debt ideology with a common-sense job creation strategy that scraps the carbon tax, protects our public services, and gets a fair deal for Alberta.
Thank you, Mr. Kenney. Stephen Mandel from the Alberta Party.
Good
Your
evening.
1 minute begins now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephen Mandel, and I'm running to be the Premier of Alberta. I know a lot of you tonight don't know what to do. Many of you want to get rid of the NDP, We've also got some serious reservations about Mr. Kenney's UCP, and you're worried about the prospect of a Jason Kenney government. It's a no-win choice. And you're scared about splitting the vote. We hear that all the time at the doors. You're scared of accidentally electing the wrong person. I understand your fear. I know where it comes from. Mr. Kenney and Ms. Notley have made this selection so polarized, it's hard to know what really to do. But I ask you tonight to set aside your fear and take a good, long look at the Alberta Party and what we offer. Because we don't think you should have to choose between a good economy and a kind society. You should be able to have both. That's what we want to do in 2019, and that's what we offer.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. David Kahn from the Alberta Liberal Party, you have 1 minute for your opening statement.
Alberta Liberals have smart, common-sense solutions for the serious problems we all face today. We have the boldest pro-growth strategy of any political party in decades. Alberta Liberals will put more cash in your pocket. We will eliminate income tax for 70% of Albertans. We will add an HST to provide stable revenue and get Alberta off the resource roller coaster. We will create more jobs, and we will fight to get the Trans Mountain pipeline built. We will improve healthcare and reduce wait times. We will cut classroom sizes to give your children a better education. Alberta Liberals have bold ideas for a better tomorrow. I have the vision to move this province forward. We will make life better for all Albertans.
Thank you, Mr. Kahn. That concludes the opening statements. We are off to the races. So we begin with the first question from our panel. That first question relates to intergovernmental relations with Ottawa. With that question is CBC Provincial Affairs reporter Kim Ternacity. Kim's question is directed first at Stephen Mandel, who will have 45 seconds to respond.
Thank you, Sarah, and good evening to everyone. Well, some feel at this point in Alberta's history that our relationship with Ottawa isn't very good and that Albertans really aren't benefiting all that much. So if you were Premier, how would you work with Ottawa to improve that relationship and ultimately the outcomes for all Albertans?
Thank you. First and foremost, I think people have to understand we're proud Albertans. And we've done so much for this country. And there's a misunderstanding across Canada at the contribution we've made. Our oil sands have been an amazing development that has contributed billions of billions of dollars to our country. As a result of that, there seems to be this misunderstanding of what we're doing in Alberta. I think, begin with, we must create a relationship with the federal government that they understand who Alberta is. Treat us fair, treat us equitably, because if we're going to continue this conflict relationship we seem to have now, we're never going to get anything settled. Let's work together, but they need to understand that Alberta has a position they must respect.
All right, Mr. Mandel, thank you for that. Mr. Kahn, you now have 45 seconds to answer.
Albertans are right to be angry at Ottawa, BC, and Quebec. The truth is we're not being treated fairly. However, hot-headed actions and misleading rhetoric are getting us nowhere. The Alberta Liberals were the only party to stand against the turning off the taps legislation. Why? Because hurting our own industry just to hurt our neighbours isn't a strategy. It is a political stunt designed to create the illusion of strength. I believe real strength comes from fostering cooperation and making good deals. I believe in Canada and I believe in Alberta. It's time to do away with silly and inflammatory ideas and start building coalitions.
All right, Mr. Kahn, thank you. Ms. Notley, you now have 45 seconds, starting now.
Well, thank you. You know, successive governments in Ottawa have failed us. I know Albertans are angry. I'm angry too. I'm frustrated. But Mr. Kenney has been trying to say that I should just be picking fights and nothing else, not actually trying to work with Ottawa in a determined way. That might make me feel good, but it's actually not going to get a pipeline built. My job's to stand up for Alberta, to advocate for Alberta. That's what I've done, regardless of who's in power. That's why we got the federal government to buy a pipeline. And that is what leadership actually looks like.
Thank you. And finally, Mr. Kenney, you have 45 seconds for your answer.
Premier Notley has made a disastrous deal, an alliance with Justin Trudeau. And all we had to show for it is a jobs crisis, no pipelines, and a carbon tax. We have laid out a detailed plan to fight for a fair deal for Alberta in the Federation, to keep our tax dollars here, to sue the federal government for invading our jurisdiction over oil and gas through their No More Pipelines Law, Bill C-69, to join 4 other provinces in suing the federal government to prevent a federal carbon tax from being imposed on us. And I will make it clear to Justin Trudeau that if we do not get a fair deal in the Federation, if we do not get a coastal pipeline, I am prepared to hold a referendum on removing the principle of equalization from the Constitution of Canada.
All right, Mr. Kenney, thank you. Let's move into the free debate portion on that question then for a few minutes. The other leaders, all leaders can jump in at any time. Let's try to do this one at a time, though, for the audience at home, please.
Well, Mr. Kenney, go ahead. Oh, go ahead. Mr. Kenney, here's the thing. I find it very ironic that you're interested in suing the federal government over equalization when it was actually the Conservative government that you were a part of that actually wrote the formula that you currently want to sue over.
Premier,
I think the fact of the matter is that we need to have a determined approach to Ottawa. We can't simply take 30-second media cycle political grandstanding strategies as a means of actually securing a goal that Albertans need us to focus on. And that's the difference in our leadership. I'm focused on the goal. I'm not focused on the political game one night versus the next night. I'm focused on actually
Premier,
getting the pipeline
I truly
built.
respect
and you know
your leadership.
What? After 10 years in Ottawa, you didn't get a pipeline built.
Premier,
and so there is truly no reason why we should take advice from you
4
on
pipelines
this.
were built. One was approved, Northern Gateway, that you opposed. Premier,
no, that's absolutely not true.
If I could, please, Premier, if I could finish. Premier, I respect your leadership, but you made a disastrous mistake with the alliance with Justin Trudeau. You sold Alberta down the river to your ally, Justin Trudeau. All we got was his cancellation of Northern Gateway, his killing of Energy East, your joint surrender to Obama's veto on Keystone XL, your surrender to your BC New Democrat friends on their obstruction over Trans Mountain's expansion, Bill C-69, Trudeau's No More Pipelines Law, Bill C-48, his tanker ban.
Mr. Kenney, really, I mean, you are entitled, Mr. Kenney.
Announced his tanker ban, Premier. You didn't raise a word of protest. You've surrendered to his federal carbon tax. You want to raise your carbon tax by 6%.
I must really jump in here because
if we could have one person talk at a time, I'd like to bring Mr. Mandel.
Yeah, thank you. I think both of you are culpable in this issue. You know, Ms. Notley, you've developed this relationship with Trudeau. We've had to absorb this carbon tax in order to get a new pipeline, which we don't have. But Mr. Kenney, you were in Ottawa for such a long period of time. You know, equalization was under your control. You could have changed it, but you didn't.
Actually,
so all of a sudden now you're fighting about something by having a referendum. It's ridiculous. We're having a referendum here says we're going to change the program in Ottawa. Equalization is a federal program. We need to sit down and show Ottawa that we're contributing so much more to this country financially that there has to be more equity. Equity is what's being lost in this whole program. The federal government seems to think Alberta's this cash cow that they can go after for money constantly and then treat us unbelievably poorly with Bill C-48, C-69, not building a pipeline. The federal government really is incredibly culpable in this. I blame Ms. Notley for not fighting hard enough either.
Unfortunately, I'm the only person up here who's a constitutional law lawyer who understands the Constitution and how it works. Mr. Mandel, you've got a ridiculous platform on equalization payments and unilaterally amending the Constitution. Mr. Kenney, you know full well that a referendum will not magically amend the Constitution and change the equalization.
What it will do is elevate our fight for it will elevate
preying on people's economic anxieties, and you're selling them a bill of goods.
I'm talking about using...
Mr. Kenney, you respond, please, and then Ms. Notley.
What I'm talking about is using the 1998 Quebec secession reference of the Supreme Court. It says if a province holds a referendum on a constitutional amendment, it forces binding negotiations. Let's take a page out of Quebec's playbook. They've so effectively asserted their interests in the Federation. Let's elevate our fight for fairness to the top of the national agenda. Let's allow Albertans to vote on deleting Section 36, equalization from the Constitution, if we don't get fairness. We need leverage. We need leverage to get fairness in the Federation.
There's an amending formula in the Constitution, and it doesn't involve a referendum based on the Quebec secession reference. You know better than that.
We've got about 30 seconds left, Ms. Notley.
Listen, you know, we've got bluster coming from Mr. Kenney. Here's the thing. Pipelines, pipelines, pipelines. I've just now said the word 2 more times than Mr. Kenney did when he was a cabinet minister, allegedly representing downtown Calgary the whole time he was in Ottawa. What I've done is I've taken a clear approach to build support for pipelines across this country, talking to people who are in support, but also those who aren't in support. And as a result, we've moved the dial. We've gone from 4 in 10 to 7 in 10 Canadians
Premier,
supporting pipelines, and that is why we got the pipeline purchased by the federal government when it almost died. And let me just be very clear. When it comes to Gateway, the federal court actually referred to the incompetence of the Conservative government, of which Mr. Kenney was a part, as the reason for why they had to kill that pipeline.
We're going to wrap it up on that.
Thank you very much. And it is because
leaders, thank you very much. We're going to wrap it up on that particular issue. We're going to wrap up the free debate on that particular issue and move on to our second question. Thank you to the leaders. Our second question from our panel of journalists. This question relates to the provincial economy and Alberta's reliance on energy revenue. We'll go to Post Media Legislature reporter Emma Graney. Emma's question is directed first at David Kahn, who will have 45 seconds to respond.
So Alberta is facing a growing debt level and a widening deficit, and it's become clear the province can no longer rely on energy royalties. So if you were Premier of Alberta, what would you do to balance the budget and find other revenue streams?
Thank you, Emma. That's a great question. The Alberta Liberal Party is the only party in this election putting forward a pro-growth fiscal strategy to right our provincial's finances and get us off the resource roller coaster. I'm talking about replacing most provincial income tax with an HST. Now, Mr. Kenney has referred to economists such as Trevor Tombe and Jack Mintz for his proposition that the carbon tax should be scrapped and for corporate tax cuts. What he doesn't tell anyone is all of those economists have said that we need a sales tax to stabilize our revenue, and we've got the plan to replace income tax with a sales tax, and it's the only plan that's a pro-growth strategy, and it's the best plan that any parties have in this election.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Mr. Kenney, you now have 45 seconds.
The NDP is digging us into a debt hole of well over $100 billion that risks our future and our public services. We can't continue in that direction. That's why we've proposed a balanced plan to get to eliminate the deficit within one term, within 4 years, by focusing on getting the economy growing, by creating jobs so there's more people paying more taxes. And then secondly, by actually bringing in some reasonable control over government spending. We spend more than any other province on a per capita basis. So through spending restraint, without cuts, and through economic growth, we would get to a balance within 4 years without trying to wish our way out of the debt hole. The NDP has an $8 billion hole in their plan because they're trying to wish their way out of it through unrealistic growth projections.
Thank you, Mr. Kenney. Ms. Notley, you now have 45 seconds.
Well, the issue of fiscal security is absolutely an important question. When we were elected 4 years ago, times were tough. We inherited a very difficult situation, and government revenue was in free fall. So we made the decision to have people's backs, not make the situation worse. And we laid out a plan at the same time to balance the budget in 2023. You won't hear it from people here, but in fact, we have either met or exceeded our targets on that plan. And we will balance in 2023. But when we do, what we will also have is strong schools and strong hospitals. And we will not have made reckless cuts in the process.
All right. Thank you very much. And Mr. Mandel, you have 45 seconds beginning now.
Thank you very much. As a former mayor of the city of Edmonton, we were obligated to have balanced budgets. The province mandated every city to have a balanced budget. We could not go into debt unless we had ways in which we could pay for it. And as the only business person up here, you have to find ways to balance your spending with your revenues. Otherwise, you're going to go broke. The challenge, though, is the two individuals that have put forward, UCP and the NDP, their budgets, they don't make any sense. If you spend time looking at the current budget, you'll see that it's so out of whack that by 2023, the assumption is there's going to be $10 billion in royalty revenue, and that's going to create the balance. It makes no sense. We need to create jobs, we need to create opportunity, which will increase revenue, and that revenue allow us to eventually balance the budget. But jobs are far more important at this point in time.
Okay, thank you so much, leaders. We'll now move into our free debate.
Premier, when you came to office, we had a debt of $13 billion after the entire history of our province. Under your leadership, you've been running the largest deficits per capita in Canada. Your debt is now $54 billion, and your plan takes us to $108 billion. Expert economists have said that there is no credibility in your plan. We hired an independent firm that says you are overestimating revenues by $8 billion. And so you are digging us. I hope you understand, Premier, you're headed towards $4 billion in interest payments. You're already spending more in interest on 17 of the 21 government than you are on 17 of 21 government departments. We can't continue to dig into this debt hole, Premier.
If I could, please. It is really quite rich. First of all, we are relying on numbers from Treasury Board and Finance. And quite honestly, I mean, you've already found, you've lost $2 or $3 billion in your estimates because you don't understand the rail deal. But more to the point, you are blowing a $4.5 billion hole into our budget in order to give away a great big tax cut to corporations with nothing guaranteed in return. And in so doing, you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it by freezing healthcare and education. So I ask Albertans, do you want to pay for a tax cut for your boss by freezing your kids' education and freezing your loved one's healthcare? There is a better way. We don't have to go down that path.
Ms. Notley, I'm going to cut you off there and bring Mr. Mandel in.
Thank you. We have to be realistic. In both cases, the deficits we're facing are substantial. But we have to deliver service to Albertans, and we have to create jobs. It's unrealistic to expect to balance the budget in the next few years, because we will be balancing in the back of Albertans who need services. We believe it will take time, but we need to deal with this massive debt. I think that's one of the things that we've not dealt with very well. We have a $55 billion debt at the point in time. I think it's closer to $85 billion if you look at the balance sheet, you look at the liabilities versus what kind of assets we actually have. I think we need to put a plan in place that looks at those liabilities and find ways to turn them out, because they're going to kill us. If we have an increase in interest rates by 1 or 2%, it's going to cost us $5 or $6 billion a year.
Mr.
Let
Mandel,
me finish.
I'd like,
Let me finish.
Mr. Khan would like to jump in at this point
It's going to cost us $5 or $6 billion a year in interest. It's going to cripple our economy.
Mr. Khan.
It's really rich for Mr. Mandel, who was part of the previous PC government, and Mr. Kenney, whose MLAs were part of previous Conservative governments, to be talking about fiscal probity when we have been left with a heritage fund that has no more money in it than when Mr. Lougheed stepped down in the 1980s. So for Conservatives in this province to talk about fiscal issues and having a proper plan for our province is really rich. It's only the Alberta Liberal Party that has the strongest fiscal plan in this campaign. Economist Trevor Tombe called it the most pro-growth idea of the campaign. It is only the Alberta Liberals that have put forward a plan to get our finances in order and have a stable revenue stream to pay for our healthcare and education, and to get off that resource roller coaster that we have been on since 1943. And during 44 years of Conservative one-party rule, we were on that roller coaster, and the budget was never balanced without resource revenue.
Mr. Kenney, you
only way
respond
to
first.
stop digging into a $100 billion debt hole that risks our future and our public services without reducing spending on key public services is to grow the economy. That's what this debate and this election is about, getting people back to work. Now, the Premier just once again trashed businesses and employers who actually create the jobs in our economy. She came to office promising to raise royalties. She raised taxes on employers' incomes, property, helped Mr. Trudeau raise payroll taxes and her carbon tax, increased red tape,
might I get in at any
and led
point?
to an economic crisis in this province where some say we're in our second recession. We need to turn that around, which is why we're proposing the job creation tax cut that Professor Mintz says would create at least 55,000
If I might.
Professor Mintz.
We've got 30 seconds left on this question, please. I'm going to bring Ms. Notley in. One at a time, please. I'm going to bring Ms. Notley in. You've got about 30 seconds.
If I could, first of all, let us just remember this. We have the best balance sheet in the country right now in Alberta, and we will have the best balance sheet in the country when we reach balance. But let me also say, your plan to blow $4.5 billion hole in our deficit for a corporate tax cut with no guaranteed return of any kind is deeply irresponsible.
55,000 jobs is a big return.
And we have a focused plan that will cost much less than that to create 75,000 jobs and finally diversify our economy in a way that Conservatives have ignored for 2.5 decades. At the end of the day, we should not be paying for this corporate tax cut by freezing our healthcare and freezing our education the way Mr. Kenney wants you to do.
We're out of time on that question. Thank you, leaders. That concludes our free debate on that question. We're out of time on that question. Thank you. We're going to take a quick 2-minute commercial break. We will be right back with the 2019 Alberta Leaders Debate. Welcome back to our viewers and our listeners across the province, joining us on TV, radio, online, and social media tonight. This is the 2019 Alberta Leaders Debate. If you're just joining us, we're pleased to have the leaders from the UCP, Liberal, NDP, and Alberta Party with us. The leaders are taking questions from our panel of journalists tonight. Each leader has 45 seconds to respond, and then we open the floor for a free debate involving everyone. Now, as we come out of the debate on the economy, many people, of course, feel the way to get the economy kick-started is to build pipelines to move oil to market. Courtney Theriault from City News Edmonton has that next question. It is directed first at Jason Kenney, who will have 45 seconds to respond.
Thank you, Tara. I think it would be fair to say that much of the discontent in Alberta right now relates to the inability to get pipelines built. The current price differential for Alberta crude is hurting Alberta companies, government revenues, and ordinary Albertans. So what would you do as leader of Alberta to address this?
Great question. First of all, what I would not do is what our Premier did shortly after taking office when she said Alberta was, quotes, the embarrassing cousin that no one wants to talk about. That apologetic attitude is what invited the activism of these foreign-funded special interests that have so successfully landlocked Alberta energy. So we're proposing a fight-back strategy to move to a proactive and assertive approach. We would challenge the charitable status of groups like the David Suzuki Foundation in court that are funneling foreign money into our politics. We would build partnerships with pro-pipeline provincial governments. We would facilitate Aboriginal co-ownership of pipelines, a critical piece in this. We would challenge our energy companies to step up to the plate and more aggressively advocate for Alberta's ethically produced oil and gas.
Thank you, Mr. Kenney. We turn now to Mr. Mandel, and you have 45 seconds.
Thank you very much. We're proud Albertans of what we produce. The oil sands has been a remarkable source of revenue for this country. Over the last number of years, we've sent billions and billions of dollars across this country to subsidize programs every corner of our country. And it's a shame that when it comes time for Alberta to begin to do that again, to ship oil to the coast, we're being blockaded. It's difficult to ship oil to the south right now. So what we've done is we've come up with a program to ship out of, build a rail line out of Fort McMurray up through Alaska to Valdez. It's a great opportunity to get out of our country. There's an opportunity to do that. The governor of Alaska is already talking to President Trump about getting involved with that. We think that's one of the opportunities that we have in front of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. We'll turn now to Mr. Khan, and you have 45 seconds.
Well, I'm really happy to answer this question. I'm the only leader up here who's actually laid pipe in the Brooks area in one summer in my undergrad, so I've actually built a pipeline. We support the Trans Mountain Pipeline and other infrastructure projects. We're losing $80 million a day because it's not built. However, the current and past federal governments failed on Indigenous consultations and on the Marine Review, jeopardizing the project. The NDP failed to hold them to account. We will make sure consultations are done right and the pipeline is built responsibly. But there's no constitutional shortcuts like Mr. Kenney has suggested. He's spinning fairy tales to get votes. As a constitutional law lawyer specializing in Indigenous rights, I know what went wrong and what needs to be done to fix it.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. And we turn finally to Ms. Notley. You now have 45 seconds.
Well, thank you. You know, fighting for this pipeline has been the fight of my life, and I've been doing that fight since I first got elected. Now, of course, I'm frustrated. We're all frustrated, especially by the most recent delays. But we can't act out of a place of anger as much as we may feel it, and as much as that might make us feel better. We must be smart and strategic. Now, my opponent, Mr. Kenney, wants to stoke fear and division for his political gain, but that is not leadership. Leadership is traveling the country, as I have done, moving support, or growing support for this pipeline from coast to coast to coast, and ultimately pushing the federal government to buy the pipeline when it was in jeopardy. It's not built yet, but I believe we will get shovels in the ground by this fall.
Okay, Ms. Notley, thank you. Let's now move into the free debate.
The problem with that answer is that this Premier opposed Northern Gateway. She gave license to Justin Trudeau, her ally, to cancel Northern Gateway.
That is simply not true,
She opposed Keystone
Mr.
XL, and she and Justin Trudeau surrendered to Obama's veto on Keystone XL. This Premier did nothing to push back meaningfully against Justin Trudeau killing Energy East. This government has left us with the faint hope of only one pipeline, and now we have Mr. Trudeau's Bill C-69, the No More Pipelines law, his tanker ban. We need to push back, in part, by making it clear to British Columbia that we are prepared to turn off the taps if they obstruct the flow of our energy, by telling multinationals like HSBC Bank that if they boycott Alberta, the government of Alberta will boycott them, by launching a public inquiry into the foreign sources of special interest money in the tar sands campaign that have so successfully defamed our energy, and working with First Nations to revive Northern Gateway by defeating Justin Trudeau's C-69, working with New Brunswick and Ontario to revive Energy East, doing everything we can.
If I could,
Juno Alab, or
one at a time,
Port
please. Let's have Ms. Notley respond, and then Mr. Mandel.
Well, interestingly, the funny thing about all that is that not a single thing that you talked about there is actually going to get the pipeline built. It's just going to give you lots of media. Your record in Ottawa is a decade of failure. We had a Conservative government in Edmonton, we had a Conservative government in Victoria, we had a Conservative government in Ottawa, and we did not get a pipeline to Tidewater built. What I've done is I've traveled the province, as I've said, or traveled the country, as I've said, and I didn't just talk to echo chambers of people who already agreed with us. I spoke to people who were opposed to pipelines, and I changed their opinions so that when Kinder Morgan was in jeopardy, at that point, the federal government responded to the very determined pressure that we put on them to buy the pipeline in order to save that pipeline and keep it in play. There is nothing that Mr. Kenney has done up until this point that has actually gotten us any further.
The reality is we still don't have a pipeline. The reality is we don't have enough pipelines to send our oil south. We don't have any pipelines to send it west or east. Part of that responsibility of Mr. Kenney and his government, when he was there, they could have pushed Northern Gateway through, but he didn't do that. The fact of the matter is Albertans are still waiting for the pipeline. Ms. Notley, I was there when you promised in the legislature that shovels would be aground last summer. They're not there. Every time we talk about this, we keep saying it's going to happen, going to happen, going to happen. I hope it does. We desperately need the pipeline. We need to put Albertans back to work. That's what all of us want. Everybody up here wants to do that.
Mr.
But the fact of the matter, it seems to me that we're going nowhere quick. Every time I turn around, every time we turn around, it's C-48 or C-69, or the federal government is making every effort to diminish the capacity of Alberta.
Unfortunately, most of what Mr. Kenney has said in his presentation just now is pure political theater. It's not going to get a pipeline built. It's just to buy votes and to play to the cameras and to play to Albertans' economic anxieties. I'm the only leader up here who is a constitutional law lawyer who knows what's gone wrong with those consultations, who knows what needs to be done to comply with the Constitution and get that Trans Mountain pipeline built. And I'm the only leader that has that experience working with First Nations across the country and knows what they need and require.
A quick rebuttal from Ms. Notley, please.
Well, the only thing I will say, and I'm sure we'll have a chance to talk about it more, is that while we must do everything we can to get our oil to market and to get a pipeline built, in the meantime, Mr. Kenney is talking about cancelling a fundamentally important rail deal that we put in place that will help keep the the differential down and get production moving. And he has absolutely no plan at all. His math on it is wrong. And it's also going to kill jobs in downtown Calgary. So I look forward to having a chance to talk about that because he is so misinformed on that topic.
You're the expert in killing jobs in downtown Calgary. The rail deal, $4 billion, biggest expenditure in provincial government history for something the private sector was prepared to do. You've moved the risk and the cost
prepared to do it. You're picking winners and losers.
The oil companies already are moving the oil by rail. They already are.
One at a time, please. We're going to wrap this one up. Thank you so much. Let's keep moving. We have plenty of issues to cover tonight. So we're going to shift gears from the business of pipelines to social issues. The next question will be asked by CTV Edmonton's Aaron Isfeld. Aaron's question is directed at Rachel Notley, who, again, of course, you will have 45 seconds to respond.
In the first half of this campaign, we've seen a number of candidates who seem not to embrace a vision of acceptance and openness for all Albertans in regards to ethnicity, sexual orientation, or their belief system. Why do you see this as an important issue for this province?
Well, this is an issue that goes to the heart of who we are. And there are many issues that, quite frankly, have been settled in Alberta on protecting gay kids, whether we allow discrimination and racism to fester, whether women should have control over their own healthcare decisions. Quite frankly, Mr. Kenney's candidates have put those issues back on the front page by being fundamentally out of step with what it is Albertans believe. Moreover, he was presented with a fundamental test to his leadership just yesterday when we discovered the vile things that his education critics said about members of the LGBTQ community.
5 seconds.
He failed that test. Albertans deserve better in a leader.
Ms. Notley, thank you. Mr. Mandel, you now have 45 seconds.
Thank you. When we talk about the GSAs, we have to go to the children on the street. 40% of the children on the street today are from the LGBTQ community. That's a travesty. And why is that? Because somewhere along the way, they've gone home and their parents have said, we don't want you here. So the GSAs are to be put in place. We can protect children. And if we as a society cannot protect our children, what can we do? That's our number one job. We're going to educate them. We may have to make sure they feel comfortable. And at the same time, we need to make a safe and secure place for them, and the GSAs do that. That's one of the reasons we're creating a Ministry of Inclusion and Engagement, so that we can create a better atmosphere so people can have more discourse in the province, so together we can find a better way to interact with all of our people.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Mr. Kenney, you now have 45 seconds.
We must respect the dignity of all people. We as Albertans judge people not based on how they pray or who they love or where they were born, but on how they treat others. I'm proud to lead the largest provincial party in Canada with 160,000 members and one of the most diverse teams ever presented in an election. A quarter of our candidates have identified themselves as coming from visible minority backgrounds. We have Muslims, Sikhs, Hindus, Jews, Christians, and others. We have people who came to this country as refugees, new Albertans. We've also proposed a security infrastructure program to provide grants to improve security around vulnerable community installations like mosques and Hebrew schools that might be targeted by hate-inspired violence. We must all join together in condemning hatred and supporting the diversity that I champion as Canada's immigration minister.
Thank you, Mr. Kenney. And finally, Mr. Khan, you have 45 seconds.
The test of a society is how it treats its most vulnerable. Alberta Liberals were the first party to support GSAs in Alberta. In 2014, we introduced legislation to protect GSAs that eventually pressured the PCs to implement their own and more flawed bill. Our party is founded on a belief in the value of all human beings, regardless of race, religion, sexual orientation, or gender identity. We believe in freedom and equality of opportunity for all. We support diversity and will fight back against racism, homophobia, far-right nationalism, and Islamophobia. I am running on a platform that will create equality of opportunity for all Albertans.
All right, Mr. Khan, thank you. And we will now open this issue into free debate.
Well, Mr. Kenney,
First of all, Ms. Khan, you seem to go first. We'll try to go first this time. The reality is that the defining moment in a society is how we treat those that are the most vulnerable. I agree with Mr. Khan. This is so sad to see this has become such a political football. I don't understand why people just can't realize how important this idea of allowing kids to be protected in schools and allow the gay-straight alliances to move forward. It's a simple program. It allows kids to find their way and to be successful. This is so sad in our province that we're debating this over and over and over again. Mr. Kenney, yesterday, the challenges your Mr. Smith brought forward were terrible. And it seems time and time again, people within your party are coming up with those things, and they have to be disqualified. They have to come forward and comment about their particular phobias. It's sad. This needs to be moved forward in life. So allow these children not to be the political footballs I think they've become over the last little while.
Okay, Mr. Kenney, I'm going to let you respond to that, please, and then we'll bring in Ms. Notley and Mr. Khan.
I agree with Stephen and the other leaders here that we must ensure there's a safe place for LGBTQ youth in the schools, which is why we supported, both of our legacy parties supported the creation of what is Canada's strongest legal protection for gay-straight alliances. We do think those kids must have a right to have that peer support. And in fact, we are one of only 3 provinces in Canada with that kind of legal protection, which we would retain. At the same time, we believe that every child is unique and every circumstance is different. Under the Premier's bill, A child was recently taken out of class during school hours by somebody who wasn't, without the knowledge or consent of the parents, to go to a out-of-school conference. That's something I think most parents would probably be a bit troubled by. So all we're saying is that for younger children, those who might be facing emotional or mental health challenges, we should not be the only place in North America to create an absolute legal barrier to engaging the caring support of loving parents. This is not, as they characterize it, about out-engaged children. That's offensive. No responsible teacher would ever reveal a child's sexual orientation. That's private information. But surely we should acknowledge that there may be cases where it's in the best interests of the child who may be bullied, who may be suffering from mental or emotional challenges, to engage the loving support of caring parents, and that parents should know if a kid's being taken out of the school for a field trip to a conference, for example.
Right, let's wrap up that thought. Ms. Notley, jump in, please.
GSAs, gay-straight alliances, save lives. And allowing kids who are part of gay-straight alliances to be outed puts them at risk. Mr. Kenney's caucus voted against Bill 24 when we brought it in. Moreover, in the last 3.5, his hand-picked education minister wrote a policy proposing to make it legal to fire teachers on the basis of their own sexual orientation. Mr. Kenney is not being forthright with Albertans when he talks about the idea that his party accepts and supports people in the LGBTQ community. They do not. And he had an opportunity to demonstrate leadership by moving those people outside of his party. He has a member of his party who equated the pride flag with the swastika, and he has not moved that person out of the party either. Rather, he's parroting his arguments today in this debate.
We've got about a minute left on this
leadership.
Thank you. We've got a minute
Alberta
left on this
deserves
topic.
better.
I want to bring Mr. Khan back in.
You know, it's unfortunate, Mr. Kenney, that you just don't understand the struggles that young gay youth go through and the struggles that they have, that they face many of them face at home. Gay straight alliances are designed to be a safe place for those youth.
Agreed.
And they are designed to allow their peers to help support them when many of them do have struggles with their home environment. It was the Alberta Liberals that tabled the first legislation to protect gay straight alliances, and your PC party actually was dragged kicking and screaming in the legislature in November 2014 into finally supporting them and finally passing a bill that was actually a carbon copy of the Alberta Liberal bill. So we know, Albertans know that they can trust the Alberta Liberal Party to protect diversity and to champion equality of opportunity. We're running on a platform that includes ending police carding, pay equity legislation for women, and a modernization of the Alberta Human Rights Act so that we limit the kind of discrimination that we're sometimes seeing in the workplace.
I'm going to jump in there now. We've exhausted our time on that question, and I thank you, and I will come back to you, Mr. Mandel. I know you wanted to get in on that one. So our next question we're going to move on to relates to leadership and trust. And with that, we go back to CBC Provincial Affairs reporter Kim Ternacity. Kim's question is directed first at Jason Kenney, and again, 45 seconds to respond.
Thank you. Well, in 2015, as we all know, after more than 4 decades of Conservative leadership, Albertans decided it was time for a change. Now you are asking them to, once again, to put their trust into a Conservative government, a variation of a Conservative government. So why are you, at this time, the right leader for Alberta?
Let's be clear, Kim. It's a very good question. The NDP was elected in the last election because Albertans legitimately wanted change. They concluded that after 40-some years, the PCs had become arrogant and the Wildrose Party wasn't ready to govern. We've learned from those mistakes. We've created a new big tent coalition, the largest provincial party in Canada. We've committed to a democratic reform agenda that includes the right of recall, so voters can fire their MLAs if they betray the public trust, and free votes in the legislature. And so it's so important for us to maintain a culture of humility, to learn from the mistakes of the past. I think people understandably wanted a change of government last time, and I think they want a change of government this time to get our economy back on track.
All right, Mr. Kenney, thank you for that. Let's turn to Ms. Notley now. You have 45 seconds.
Well, in this election, Albertans have a clear choice. Who do you trust to be your premier? Now, Mr. Kenney is applying to be premier, and we deserve to understand his record. many of Mr. Kenney's candidates have views that are demeaning to women, that are white supremacists, that are Islamophobic and anti-LGBTQ, and he has not dealt with them in a way that demonstrates leadership. Moreover, it is becoming clearer and clearer that people on Mr. Kenney's leadership team, at the very least, cheated for him to win the leadership. So the real question is this: if Mr. Kenney would cheat his own party members to have a chance at running to be premier, what will he do to the people of this province to keep the job?
All right, Ms. Notley, thank you. Let's turn to Mr. Khan now, and you have 45 seconds.
I'm the youngest political leader here. I'm from the next generation of political leaders. I know what younger people in our society want and crave. They want stability. They want good jobs. They want fairness in our electoral system. That's why we've the only party running on proportional representation, on regulating political action committees to keep big money out of our elections. And so young people and new Canadians know that they have an ally in me, that I know what they're going through. My father came here in the 1960s and had a great career in the oil patch, and I know what we need to do to bring new immigrants to the table, train them, and get them working in the workforce.
Okay, Mr. Khan, thank you. And finally, Mr. Mandel, you now have 45 seconds.
Thank you very much. One of the most important things about leadership is to have respect, listen, and work together with people. As former mayor of the city of Edmonton, that's what I did. It wasn't easy. We found coalitions built together so we could get things accomplished. That's one of the things that's so important right now. There's this divisiveness within our province that's scary. There seems to be top-down management of other parties. Our party is about coming together. It's about grassroots. We are grassroots, unlike some of the other parties. The reality is we believe that we can work together as a team. The Alberta Party has amazing candidates. I think if you look at the last little while, we have our candidates announcing different programs because we trust them. We know how confident they are. And so if we end up having a government, we have tremendous people to do that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Let's launch into our free debate now. Mr. Mandel, why don't you start? You got a bit shortchanged on the last one. You go ahead.
I guess, well, I was just kind of pretty seriously attacked there. So
I will come right next to you, Mr.
Thank you very
much.
much.
Let Mr. Mandel start.
I think this is... Leadership is about a lot of things. And, Ms. Notley, we experienced when the crossing of the floor with few people, Ms. Luft and Ms. McPherson, they talked about bullying, and then there was also allegations of sexual misconduct within your department, within your office, and you made decisions to shuffle them under the table. You said you had investigations, but the fact of the matter, nothing came out. What ended up being is, everything was okay. You did things in a proper way. Nobody knows. Why didn't you make public what was going on? Or why didn't you have an independent investigator look at this so people could see that you were following the rules that you like other people to set?
Ms. Notley, respond, and then I'm going to Mr. Kenney.
Well, absolutely. Well, we did have an independent investigator, but let me just say that I know this is the issue of harassment in the workplace is an emotional one for a lot of people. It is for me as well. And part of rooting out sexual misconduct and harassment is creating the conditions for people to come forward. So the people that we chose to protect were the complainants who asked for confidentiality. Now, those aren't easy questions to answer. It's a tough balance to strike. That's what leadership is about. I hope we struck the right balance. But as Mr. Mandel noted, we did absolutely bring in an independent or two independent investigators. We followed their recommendations, and we've managed to protect the confidentiality of the complainants so that if other issues arise, people know that they can come forward.
Okay, Ms. Notley, thank you. Mr. Kenney.
A moment ago, the Premier just engaged in a drive-by smear against myself and our entire party. It's sad to see the Premier, whenever she does this, it's because she's incapable of defending her failed economic record, the jobs crisis, her alliance with Justin Trudeau, her carbon tax, her intention to raise it by 67%, her $100 billion debt. Whenever you hear that fear and smear, that's what's really going on. Premier, you had a supporter the other day on social media who attacked Kaliche Madu, the Conservative candidate in Edmonton Southwest, a proud Nigerian immigrant to Canada, for supposedly supporting white supremacism. This is getting ridiculous. It's offensive. As the federal immigration minister, I welcome more newcomers to Canada than any immigration minister in Canadian history. I reached out to the full diversity of our ethno and cultural communities. Now, Premier, then you said, you claimed that I cheated in a leadership election, the results of which were confirmed by an independent auditing firm, by the independent leadership committee, by an independent firm that administered the vote with a margin of 17,000 votes. What you've just said is, quite frankly, defamatory. But Premier,
10 seconds
why don't you tell us
please.
who are the two members of your caucus who have been under charges for serious sexual misconduct?
Ms. Notley, respond.
Well, thank you very much. You know, I'm really sorry that you believe that people talking about your record is somehow negative campaigning. To me, it's talking about the facts. The leadership campaign of which you were a part is under RCMP investigation, Mr. Kenney. They are talking to the RCMP, who are investigating the wrongdoing. We have seen documents that have been released which show a clear connection between people in your campaign and Mr. Callaway's campaign. Is it normal for you to, do you think it's normal politics to run somebody as a kamikaze candidate in order to take down your most competitive?
All right, we want to bring everybody in on this conversation, please, one at a time.
That is
one at a time, thank you.
The document shows.
We want to bring everyone in on this conversation, Mr. Khan.
Bickering. We have the NDP that spent the first 2 weeks of the campaign attacking Mr. Kenney with attack websites, with information from decades ago. We have Mr. Kenney that attacks the Premier every day, claims that there's some Notley-Trudeau alliance. Albertans are sick and tired of this kind of rhetoric. They want to hear real solutions to make their lives better. We have immense challenges that we've got to address in this province, and it's only the Alberta Liberals that are putting forward real policy to address those solutions, not pandering for votes, not attacking other leaders, but actually addressing the serious issues that we all face as Albertans and looking towards the future and where we've got to go to get our province back on track.
Okay, we have 30 seconds left. I'm going to give Mr. Mandel the final word.
Thank you. I mean, it is sad. On the one side, Mr. Kenney's attacking Ms. Notley, then Ms. Notley's attacking Mr. Kenney, and Mr. Khan is absolving himself of any responsibility of anything. Isn't this a funny little environment? But the fact of the matter is we have to be concerned about the integrity of all of our politicians who might lead this province. We have to be concerned about sexual misconduct allegations, and they come out in the public. We find out really what happens. But most of all, we have to be concerned about bigotry and intolerance. That's something nobody can tolerate anywhere. And that seems to be something that's following Mr. Kenney's party ongoing basis. And that's very disconcerting.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. We're out of time on that topic for now. We want to thank the leaders for their spirited discussion this evening. There's so much more to come. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back with the 2019 Alberta Leaders Debate. Welcome back. You're watching the 2019 Alberta Leaders Debate. The heads of the UCP, Liberal, NDP, and Alberta Party are with us, laying out their platforms for our viewers and our listeners across the province, joining us on TV, radio, online, and social media. The leaders are taking questions from our panel of journalists tonight. Each leader has 45 seconds to respond, and then we open the floor for a free debate involving everyone. So let's get right back into it. Our next topic relates to the environment, and with that question is Emma Graney, legislature reporter from Post Media. Emma's question is directed at David Kahn, who will have 45 seconds to respond.
Mr. Kahn, another question from me. Aren't you lucky? Alberta has seen a massive flooding. We've seen lots of forest fires and things that most scientists agree are symptoms of climate change. Now, our economy here in Alberta is driven by the energy sector, which most scientists say does have a negative impact on the environment. So how will you balance the economy and jobs with protecting environment for future generations?
Thank you, Emma. That is a great question. For the younger people in our province, they know that combating climate change is the critically important issue to save our planet, our economy, and our entire way of life. It may not be popular, but a carbon tax is the most efficient way to reduce carbon emissions while not punishing the economy, as long as it's revenue neutral. Now, this is the problem with the NDP's carbon levy. They instituted it the wrong way. They didn't take proper advice from economists. Our Alberta Liberal plan will return all of that revenue to consumers and businesses so they're not hurt, but are encouraged to reduce their emissions. And we need to involve everyone, not just large emitters and our oil and gas industry. We all need to help.
All right, Mr. Kahn, thank you. Let's turn now to Mr. Kenney. Mr. Kenney, you have 45 seconds.
We need to take the challenge of climate change seriously. That's why United Conservatives have proposed a levy on major emitters that would reduce carbon by about 70 megatons from our economy. But at the same time, we need to recognize the NDP's carbon tax is just a cash grab. It's all economic pain and no environmental gain. They hid it. They lied to Alberta voters in the last election about their intention to impose their carbon tax. They've already raised it by 50%. They intend to raise it by another 67% to please their ally, Justin Trudeau. And then the federal Liberals say it'll go up beyond that. This is making it more expensive to heat your homes and fill up your gas tanks. People were spending up to 70 to 80% effective tax on home heating gas this winter. That's why United Conservatives, as Bill number 1, we will bring in the Carbon Tax Repeal
Mr.
Act.
Kenney, thank you. Let's turn now to Mr. Mandel. You have 45 seconds.
Thank you very much. We all know that climate change is a very important issue, but so is the Albertans' problem of having to deal with cold weather and heating our homes and traveling long distances. If you live in rural Alberta, you don't just go around the corner. You don't have transit service, so you have to travel. The reality is every time we turn around, the solution is let's tax some more. Let's not be creative. Let's not find ways in which we can use the products we have. And I think an example we could do, rather than taxes, we could have encouraged canola producers. The issue with China right now, we use green canola and convert that into a support for petroleum products. Same thing with hybrid cars. Rather than telling everybody you have to pay taxes, why don't we give some kind of a subsidy? Take Mr. Trudeau's 5% GST and allow that to be subsidized by hybrid cars. There's lots we can do if we're creative.
All right, thank you so much. And let's turn now to Ms. Notley. You have 45 seconds.
Thank you. You know, this is a tough issue. Climate change threatens our communities, it threatens the health of our kids, and it threatens our economy. And the bottom line is this: Alberta can either lead or we can be left behind. Now, my opponent's plan is to leave our energy industry and our province behind. We can't entrust the future of our kids to a leader who ducks tough calls and wants to take us backwards. We have a Made in Alberta plan that rebates 2/3 of Alberta households, that supports families, supports Alberta businesses, and moves our energy sector forward. A plan is also getting results. Our air is cleaner. Our kids are breathing more freely. We cannot put that into jeopardy.
All right, Ms. Notley, thank you. So there you go, economy versus the environment. Let's move into our free debate.
You know, a couple of months ago, the Premier was asked by how much is her carbon tax on people heating their homes reducing emissions. And she said, I don't know, I haven't been briefed on that. The single most important policy of her government, and she can't even tell us what environmental impact it's having. But I can tell you what economic impact it's having. When we, as a Conservative government, scrap the carbon tax as our first bill of government, we will save families up to $1,150 $50 a year. We will help to create 6,000 new jobs. We'll save small businesses $4,500 a year. And then if Justin Trudeau threatens to impose his federal carbon tax on us, we will sue him. We'll join the governments of New Brunswick, Ontario, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba in challenging the constitutionality of the federal carbon tax. We can be responsible on the environment by putting a levy on the big industrial emitters. You know the single most effective thing we could do, though, to help global carbon reduction would be to get our natural gas to China and India, building LNG, liquefied natural gas infrastructure, so we can ship that to Asian markets, so they can convert from dirty coal to clean Alberta gas. That's a win-win for our energy producers and the global environment.
Ms. Notley, a response?
Well, you know what? Our plan has already reduced greenhouse gas emissions by 7 megatons. And to put that in amounts that people can understand, that is 1/3 the annual emissions of the whole province of Manitoba. So we are taking action to phase out coal emissions and breathing cleaner air already. Now, the fact of the matter is that Mr. Kenney's numbers on savings actually ignore the rebates that we are giving to families. It also ignores the fact that our plan is paying for flood protection in the city of Calgary, for the LRT, for the Green Line, and for a growing and exciting renewable energy industry, which had been left to fail for 20 years. And so we're making incredible progress. We just can't afford to go backwards.
Thank you, Ms. Notley. Mr. Mandel.
Thank you. One of the challenges with the program is it's going to take almost $2.5 billion out of the economy, and it's going to go into a slush fund. And if more money is collected, what's going to happen? It's then going to general revenues.
It's true.
In reality, it's almost like a sales tax.
With no more rebates.
We should call it maybe a sales tax, but it's a carbon tax. The fact of the matter is Albertans are suffering right now. We have one of the worst periods of economic times we've had in the province history. And yes, you give it back to 2/3 of the people. So a third of the population says, oh, we're responsible for all the carbon reduction. The other 2/3, I guess they don't care. They don't have to worry about it because they get all the money back. But what about the businesses that have to pay? There's so many businesses in this province that are suffering. They have all these additional costs. And that's where the carbon tax is having a tremendous negative impact.
We've got about
losing their
2 minutes left on this topic. Thank you, Mr. Mandel. I want to bring Mr. Khan in first, please.
And the Alberta Liberal plan is the only plan in which we care about the economy and the environment. That's why our plan would return all carbon tax revenue, every last cent, to consumers and businesses that are paying for it so that they're not hurt, but they are still encouraged to reduce carbon emissions because then they can actually make money when they have tax rebates and tax cuts. So we're the only party that's actually serious about both the economy and the environment. I think people that were looking at Mr. Mandel's party will be very sad to see that they clearly have no plan to reduce climate change except for talking about canola producers and hybrid cars. This is not a way to address climate change, and Albertans know that we've got to have a plan, but we want a plan that doesn't hurt our economy, that doesn't hurt Albertans in the pocketbook, but encourages people to reduce carbon emissions, and that's what our Alberta Liberal plan is.
All right, we've got 1 minute left on this, please, Ms. Notley, 30 seconds, and then we'll end with Mr. Kenney.
Mr. Kenney's plan will actually accelerate climate change. He wants to take the cap off of oil sands emissions.
Absolutely.
A plan which actually many energy leaders support. He wants to get coal back online and extend the life of coal so that our air gets dirtier and our kids have more trouble breathing. This is not a vision for the future.
Our major levy
the fact of the matter is that we need to be able to go forward making progress on combating climate change.
30 seconds left. That goes to Mr. Kenney,
to future
please.
generations. And you know what? Leadership isn't about the election cycle. It's about
30
planning for the
seconds left,
future.
Mr. Kenney, please.
Our levy on major emitters will affect coal production. Premier, I thought you told us you were against the cap on the oil sands because your ally Justin Trudeau hadn't got a pipeline built. Are you switching back? You just talked about rebates, Premier, but you've announced that when you raise the carbon tax by 67%, there will be no increase. There will be no increase in rebates, and there will be no increase in green spending.
No, it's not
and by
true.
the way, Premier, we will carry over things like the LRT and the flood mitigation to the budget for infrastructure. But finally,
10 seconds, and we're going to move on. Please wrap up that thought, Mr. Kenney.
We will ensure that no government can introduce a carbon tax in the future without going through Albertans in a referendum. So we can never have this kind of dishonest politics where the NDP foisted this on Alberta with Albertans.
We're out of time on that topic, and we're going to move on. Thank you very much. We've run out of time on that topic. I'm so sorry. We do still have a few more issues that we really want to tackle tonight. So we're going to move on to our next theme, which is healthcare. With that question, we go to Courtney Theriault from City News Edmonton.
All right. This one is for Ms. Notley. And as we do take a look at the books, we see for many years that healthcare has remained the largest line item in the provincial budget. And at the same time, as many Albertans are aware firsthand, wait lists haven't exactly shrunk. So with an aging demographic, the demands on that healthcare system likely only going to increase. So what would you do to address this over the next 4 years?
Well, you know what? In the middle of the night, when you're worried about your baby's fever, you need to know that there's a hospital there for you and that you're not going to have to bring out your credit card to get into it. Now, my primary opponent in this election is proposing a massive corporate tax cut, which he's going to pay for by pretending he can freeze healthcare spending without it negatively affecting the care that Albertans receive. That's simply not true. And then he's going to pair it with introducing an American-style healthcare system where he creates one line for the wealthy and another much longer line for the rest of us. Instead of making things worse, like my opponent, we're going to invest strategically to reduce wait times. We've made some progress, but we also know, as mentioned, that we have to do better, and we're focused on doing just that.
Thank you, Ms. Notley. Let's turn now to Mr. Khan. You have 45 seconds.
The Alberta Liberal plan for healthcare is simple. Invest in sustainability. We are spending the most per capita of any province in Canada. With healthcare spending making up almost half of our budget, it's clear we have to drive down costs. We need to invest in preventative care in areas like nutrition, screening, team-based community care, and public health education. It's also time to finally take mental health and addiction seriously. Experts recommend that we spend 9% of all health spending in this area, and we're currently only spending 6%. However, the UCP would gut our public health care system, and the NDP would continue with unsustainable, costly systems where we're not spending smartly. We need to do better.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Let's bring Mr. Mandel in now, and you have 45 seconds.
Thank you very much. You know, one of the greatest things Canada has and Alberta has is our healthcare system, the public healthcare system. So when you get sick in this province, and unfortunately I've had some experience with it, it's there to help you. And I think it's something that is so important to Albertans and Canadians that we must maintain our public health care system above anything else. But at the same time, we need to make sure we're delivering better frontline services, not having the waiting lines, and not spending money on frivolous areas like the laundry service or a new lab, when we can be putting investments back into our system. Our healthcare system is really one of the most important assets we have. We have to find ways to curb the costs. We cannot limit or eliminate any kind of services because our healthcare is too important.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. And finally, we'll put this question to Mr. Kenney. You have 45 seconds.
One of the things that compelled me to get into provincial public service was my own family's experience. My father, who waited for over 14 hours in an emergency ward, effectively without care, dying later that day. How does that happen in one of the most expensive systems on earth? We cannot continue with a system that is so expensive but allows that to happen, that has growing wait lists as we spend more and more. I've signed a public health guarantee that we will maintain or increase funding in a publicly insured, universally accessible system. We're going to invest $140 million additionally to deal with the mental health and opioid addiction crisis. And we want a health system that puts patients first, get the administrative waste out of AHS, and push that money to our nurses and doctors.
All right, increasing healthcare costs. We're going to move into free debate and start with Mr. Khan.
Both the UCP and the Alberta Party have talked about privatizing healthcare. Mr. Clark, Mr. Clark was on QR77 last week, suggesting that your party would look at privatizing some parts of the healthcare system.
We didn't. I don't know where you heard that from.
It's
not true at all.
And it's absolutely
absolutely not true.
It is true. First of all, second of all, when you were a PC Health Minister, Mr. Mandel, you turned down federal funding for the opioid crisis. How many Albertans died under your watch while you turned down federal funding to help with that crisis? How many people died? We need to spend better. We need to spend on preventative medicine. We need to conduct value for money audits of the healthcare system so we know that our money is being spent on the front lines and not in the bureaucracy. We can do better, but it does not involve privatizing our healthcare system.
All right, let's bring Mr. Mandel in to respond, and then Ms. Notley.
Yeah, I'm shocked that Mr. Khan would talk about we would support privatization.
I was shocked hearing it on the radio.
Yeah, well, I don't know where you heard it from. Maybe you were smoking things you shouldn't have been smoking. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is our party supports public health care. And I can tell you, more than anybody else up here, I understand why it's needed. But as far as I'm not going to go back and the accusations you make of when I was health minister, that was in a different government.
Was it not true?
I know it's not.
Were we not in a public health crisis back then with the opioid crisis?
But anyway, I'm not going to sit and argue with you about that. The fact of the matter is we need to find better ways to deliver the services. We need to allow our communities to have better decision-making locally. Too many of our communities are too far from the center of power in Edmonton. They want to get more opportunities to have the decision to make in their own community. For example, they want catheters in Red Deer in the hospitals. They want to do more things. We need to find a way to decentralize the system, create opportunities outside of Edmonton and Calgary.
Okay, Ms. Notley, where does the money come from to pay for the health care?
Well, you know, I'll tell you where it doesn't come from. It doesn't come from freezing health care and then asking people to reach into their back pocket and pay for it with their credit cards, which is in essence, Mr. Kenney has spoken very positively about models from BC, which involve basically people paying for access, paying to get onto a shorter wait list for certain types of surgeries. That means that there's one bit of health care for people with a lot of money in their back pocket and another type of health care for the rest of us. And that goes against my fundamental values as a premier and as a citizen. That's why we're focusing on a strategic investment in bringing down wait times. We know we can do better. We've brought stability to the system, but we know we can do better. That's why we're going to invest in more long-term care, more mental health. Thank you, Mr. Khan, for the contribution of your party to that issue.
Okay, so you can wrap up that thought.
But we must protect our public health care system from an American-style intrusion, because that's not going to help all of
Kenney,
What you just heard was the classic old-school NDP Metascare campaign. Look, just as this government has the worst economic record and jobs record in modern Alberta history, they also have a terrible healthcare record. Since the NDP came to office, the wait times for open heart surgery are up by 50%, for cataract surgery up by 30%, for hip replacements up by 30%, for knee replacements up by 23%. Children waiting for mental health services are waiting much longer than they were 4 years ago. And that's with a government that's spending more, with the most expensive system in Canada. We have to do something different. So what I've talked about is a healthcare surgical wait times guarantee to ensure a maximum 4-year wait time to get to surgery by emulating a hugely successful program from Saskatchewan, the birthplace of Medicare, where, yes, Premier, they do use competitive contracting to allow third-party contractors to bid into the system. They're able to do surgeries for 26% less cost. And they reduced, if I could just finish, they reduced wait times by 75%.
Okay, I'm going to give final word, please, on this. We've only got about 45 seconds left.
The private model is not why it works.
45 seconds left, Ms. Notley. I'm going to give final word to Mr.
because they invested more money. And you also like the BC model,
Pardon me if I can get a word in edgewise here.
I think it's only reasonable.
Final word to Mr. Khan, please. Thank you.
You asked the right
Leaders, one at a time. No one at home can hear you if you're all talking.
Where is the money going to come from? The money, only the Alberta Liberal Party has a bold fiscal plan to right our finances and ensure that we have stable, predictable revenue to pay for the health care that Albertans deserve. Only we are talking about full money for value audits of the whole healthcare system to make sure that we're not wasting money and making sure that it gets to the front lines, to doctors, to nurses, to emergency rooms, to paramedics.
Okay, we are out of time on the healthcare question. Thank you. We do have time for one last question tonight. Another big one, like healthcare, the theme is education. That question is being posed by Aaron Isfeld. It goes to Stephen Mandel first, who will have 45 seconds to respond.
An estimated 15,000 new students will enter Alberta schools this fall. And we are still hearing about class sizes that are too big, schools that are outdated, new communities without nearby schools, and limited opportunity for those hoping to go on to post-secondary. So how would you address these issues if you were the Premier of Alberta? Mr.
Thank
Mandel.
you. You know, I've had the opportunity to visit my grandson's class, and I've watched the teacher care so much for the kids, but I've also seen the problems they face in the classroom, the complexity of classrooms that exist today. That's why we've added 50% numbers for the funding for teachers' aides. We also need to understand, if we're going to have a province that's going to grow, we have to have a strong post-secondary system. In the past, I believe there's not been enough money invested in it. We've diminished the capacity of that system. We have to create opportunities across our province, especially in rural Alberta. We need to create opportunities throughout our province, but in northern Alberta right now, there's great challenges getting post-secondary education for all of our students. So that's really important too.
All right, Mr. Mandel, thank you. Ms. Notley, let's bring you in now. You have 45 seconds.
Well, thank you. You know, I have 2 kids who are just starting out their adult lives, and like every parent, I want to know that the education system has given them the tools that they need to succeed. But let me paint you a picture of Mr. Kenney's plan for education. Kids learning from a curriculum developed before the internet in overcrowded schools, because no one's building new schools anymore, without a plan to hire any new teachers for the 15,000 students that come through the door every year that were referenced in the question. The fact of the matter is we need to set our kids up for success. That's why we are committed to funding enrollment, not freezing education, improving classroom quality, and continuing to build the schools that our kids need to learn in and to set themselves up for success in the 21st century.
Okay, Ms. Notley, thank you. Let's turn to Jason Kenney now. You have 45 seconds.
You know, just as the NDP is spending more in healthcare for longer surgical wait times, they're spending more in education for larger class sizes. We're going to have an audit to figure out where that money went, because the class sizes are too large. And we will build new schools. We're going to accept the NDP's entire infrastructure plan as our plan. But we need to focus on things like the huge decline in math scores for Alberta students. Our kids are falling behind the rest of the world. We're going to end the failed experiment with Discovery Math. We will modernize the curriculum, and we'll take some of the ideas the NDP's worked on, but we want to develop it in an open and transparent way. And finally, we want to make sure that there is a proper assessment of students so that teachers can intervene to help them when they need it, and that there are clearly understandable report cards for both parents and kids.
All right, Mr. Kenney, thank you. And we'll turn now to David Kahn. You have 45 seconds.
Education is the single most important thing for our children, for our grandchildren, and for our future. But Alberta is still plagued by overcrowded classrooms almost 2 decades after the province introduced class size guidelines. It's clear those haven't worked. Alberta Liberals will introduce mandatory class size caps and hire 2,000 more teachers to finally put an end to overcrowded classrooms in Alberta. We will also invest in inclusive education and mental health supports for children. We need to address the needs of all students and make our education system inclusive. The NDP plan to hire 600 teachers is not sufficient. It's not good enough to just be better than the last PC government on this issue.
All right, Mr. Kahn, thank you. That wraps up our time for individual statements. Let's move into free debate on education.
Well, you know, Mr. Kenney and many of his candidates have talked a lot about what they claim is our ideological curriculum. But let me just say, this is a curriculum that has been the product of consultations with over 100,000 Albertans. And it includes ideological ideas like how to be safe on the internet. So, you know, if that's Mr. Kenney and his team's idea of what's ideological, I can't imagine what they think common sense looks like. No, but the reality is that if you freeze education, it means that every year, 15,000 new kids come through our doors and they don't get a teacher. Now, I don't know about you, but I have had the experience of sitting around the table with my kids trying to walk them through a difficult problem or difficult homework. And the idea of having 60,000 kids by the end of a term come through our doors without a new teacher to teach them, without special assistance and educational assistance to support them, and having them in overcrowded classes, that makes me worry.
Okay.
Because you know what?
Mr. Kenney, jump in.
Education is their future.
A response from Mr. Kenney.
I'm going to agree with the Premier on a number of points. First of all, we do need smaller class sizes, but we should ask ourselves, where did the hundreds of millions of dollars spent on smaller class sizes end up, and why did it end up in larger class sizes? Surely before we spend more money, we should figure out where that money went. That's why we're going to do an audit. I also agree with the Premier, if I could, I also agree that we need to modernize the curriculum. We should include issues like ensuring that in the sexual education curriculum that consent is taught as a critical principle, and financial literacy is very important. And Premier, I also want to commend you and your government for having taken some steps towards reversing the decline in math math outcomes, but it hasn't gone far enough. We need, I hope you'll agree with me, we need to end the failed experiment with Discovery Math and ensure kids are equipped for success using tried, true, and tested teaching methods like algorithms. We've also had decline in reading outcomes. I think we should emphasize things like phonics rather than inquiry whole language learning. So these are things that we would consider in our open and transparent curriculum review.
Okay, Mr. Mandel wants in on this.
There's no question we need more schools and more teachers for the K-12. But we also need to understand it's very important that early childhood education is part of what we're going to do in order to make sure our children, when they enter kindergarten, they're taken care of. You know, we propose to have an early childhood minister, which will bring the services together so that those kids can get a leg up when they start in their school years, especially when they enter as a new Canadian or as an individual that has some challenges. There's a lot that needs to be done, but we're not talking enough here about post-secondary.
True.
We really need to increase our game, increase our enrollment. We're one of the lowest in the country. We're about 45,000 under the average for our country with enrollment in post-secondary. If we're going to create a different economy, a more technologically advanced economy, we really need to invest in post-secondary.
Okay,
this is not going to be cheap either.
Jump in here,
We need to do
Mandel.
it, and we need to do it now.
Thank you. We've got about 2 minutes left in this question. I want to bring Mr. Khan in.
Alberta Liberals, we will track where that money is going. There's been money for class size reductions for years, and we do not know where it's gone.
Exactly.
We would be tracking that money down to the school and school board level to make sure that schools and school boards are accountable about how they're spending that money and that it's getting to the class and reducing the classroom sizes as it's intended. We'll also properly fund and track funding for inclusive education. Too many times, kids with autism or ADHD have special coding and special funding, but it doesn't follow the children. It disappears into school budgets. So we want to make sure that that money is going to where it's needed. We also do support the education curriculum update. It's been decades since the curriculum's been updated, and we shouldn't be using it as a political football just to score points.
Okay, we've got 1 minute left on this. I'm going to see if we can do this time. 30 seconds to Ms. Notley, and then the final 30 seconds to Mr. Kenney.
Absolutely. You know, here's how you cut class sizes. You hire teachers. If we had carried on with the plan put forward by Mr. Mandel and Mr. Kenney's predecessor party, there would be 4,000 fewer teachers in our classrooms right now. So we're going to fund enrollment, and we're going to keep hiring teachers. The other thing, as far as affordable as post-secondary goes, Mr. Mandel makes a very good point. What we've done is we've taken Alberta from being the most expensive place in Canada to pay tuition to one of the lowest in Canada.
I need you to wrap up that thought, Ms. Notley.
Huge affordability issue, and it's made access much easier.
Final
for
word
folks.
to Mr. Kenney.
I'm very excited about the skills for jobs agenda that we're putting forward to reinvent the vocational high school, to create NAIT Collegiate here in Edmonton and a similar one in Calgary, to encourage experiential and apprenticeship learning that bridges into post-secondary and to great careers, because we believe that the university degree has every bit as much value as a skilled trade certificate, and apprenticeship learning is just as good as academic learning.
Thank you, Mr. Kenney. Thank you to all of our leaders tonight. That brings our free debate to a close. Hopefully it has helped you form some opinions at home before you head to the polls. It's less than 2 weeks now. We aren't quite finished yet. Each leader has one more chance to vie for your support with their closing statement, and we'll hear those when we return. Welcome back. You are watching the leaders' debate for the 2019 provincial election. We've heard from all four leaders on a wide variety of issues tonight, and it is now time for their closing statements, the order of which, again, we determined earlier by a draw. David Kahn, you are the first, and you have 1 minute starting now.
Mr. Kenney asked, are we better off now than we were 4 years ago? The answer is no. And we will be even worse off if the UCP takes over government. The Alberta legislature needs Alberta Liberal MLAs to keep both an NDP or a UCP government in check. The UCP is threatening to cut spending by 20%. We will not slash spending. We will keep a strong social safety net for all Albertans. The NDP is piling on debt. Albertans are paying $2 billion a year in interest payments alone. That money should be going to schools and hospitals. The Alberta Liberals will tackle that debt. We will fire up the economy with our pro-growth tax reforms. We will create more jobs. Alberta Liberals will make your life better. I give you my word.
Thank you, Mr. Kahn. Let's turn now to Mr. Kenney. You have 1 minute.
This election is about jobs, the economy, pipelines, and getting a fair deal for Alberta. I respect our Premier, but the NDP is governed by a failed ideology. They raised taxes on everything, and they scared away investors. They made us the most overregulated economy in Canada, and they made an alliance with Justin Trudeau that's left us with nothing except a jobs crisis, a carbon tax, and no pipelines. We can't afford 4 more years of this. We can't afford a $100 billion debt, a 67% hike in the carbon tax, or surrendering to Trudeau's agenda. For all those Albertans who have lost their jobs, their businesses, their homes, and their hope, we need change. Please go to albertastrongandfree.ca to see our 375 positive ideas to get Alberta back to work, to protect our public services, and to stand up for Alberta. I ask for your support so we can renew the promise of Alberta as a land of opportunity that is strong and free.
Thank you, Mr. Kenney. Let's turn now to Ms. Notley. You have 1 minute.
Well, thank you very much. You know, it's been a good debate. Tonight and in my platform, I've laid out a plan to diversify our economy, to keep creating jobs, to fight for pipelines, to build on our record of cutting child poverty in half, and to bring our budget to balance responsibly. Now, right now, I know there are folks who are worried that my opponent is a bit too extreme, but they're still thinking about voting for him because they're worried about the economy. Well, I'm worried about the economy too, but that's something that he's counting on, and I'm here to tell you there is a better way. In Alberta, we can grow the economy, build a pipeline, create jobs, and not sacrifice who we are, because who we are is the source of our strength. In Alberta, it doesn't matter where you came from, who your parents are, to whom you pray, or who you love. And as a great leader once said, all that matters is the content of your character. That is the Alberta that I am fighting for. Tonight, I ask for your support.
Thank you, Ms. Notley. And finally tonight, Mr. Mandel, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. To me, more than anything, the Alberta Party represents hope. Hope in our future, hope for a better tomorrow, especially for our children. That's what motivates me. My grandson, a special guy who's 6 years old, that means the world to my wife and myself. He's our everything. I want him to grow up in Alberta with opportunity, but also one that's fair and tolerant, where he can dream. That's the kind of Alberta we want to build. Get it back to a place where you can come from anywhere and become almost anything. A place with opportunity and kindness, where we can all chase our dreams. North and south, urban and rural, everywhere. That's what I offer tonight with the Alberta Party. Let's build the next Alberta together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel, and thank you to all of our leaders tonight for a lively, engaging, and interesting debate. Thank you to our panel of journalists for helping craft some questions that hopefully help our viewers and our listeners make some decisions. And thank you for watching. Remember to vote on April 16th or, of course, in the advance polls. And good night.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're good? Everyone's framed up? Wes, are you good for framing? Yeah. You're okay? You know what? We can. We'll let you. You'll have time to get back in place, so we'll definitely create some room for you.
Yeah, we need to make a walkway here.
I mean,
That's crowded as heck too. Can we just move a little? I just got to bring them straight through.
Yep.
Without,
Yep.
If anyone trips it.
Yeah, we do have a cable there too. Yeah, Rachel's.
Here. We already walked through the.
Understood. Yeah, Rachel's first on the list. Yeah. Okay.
Well, the pool fee is going up.
The mic's so high. What about my stool? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just bugging. Sorry.
Okay, guys, you heard the debate, so go ahead with your questions. How do you think that went?
Well, you know, I'll let Albertans be the judge of how that went. I came here with a goal to be able to talk about our plan to focus on diversification and investing and getting more value for the resources that we all own and creating the over 70,000 jobs that our plan will do. I think we know, of course, as well, that Mr. Kenney's campaign is quite consumed right now with concerns around the RCMP investigation, the concerns around their leadership race, and of course the comments that have been made with respect to Islamophobia and of course homophobia. Mr. Kenney had an opportunity to level with Albertans today on that, and he didn't do that. And so my comment to Albertans is that they don't have to choose between a considered plan to grow the economy and responsibly balance the budget and extremism. They can have a premier who reflects their values and who's going to focus on creating jobs, balancing the budget in a reasonable way, and protecting the healthcare and education that they care about.
Of course, Jason Kenney would say that you spend time talking about his problems or perceived problems and things that his party's gone through because you can't defend your record. I think he said that in the debate. How would you respond to that?
Well, I would say that, you know, we know that Albertans are very concerned about the economy and their jobs. I am too. That's why we rolled out a very ambitious, the biggest economic diversification and energy diversification plan since the days of Premier Lougheed. It's already proven. We're already seeing progress on that, 10,000 jobs, $13 billion in private sector investment. We also have a plan to responsibly balance the budget. In fact, the only difference between Mr. Kenney's plan to balance the budget and mine is that I'm focusing on funding schools and hospitals, and he's focused on a $4.5 billion tax cut to big corporations. But in terms of his concerns around my pointing out the significant challenges that he's facing on the matter of the RCMP investigation, on the matter of the systemic problem he has with racism in his party and homophobia, well, I'm sorry. That is the record. And if he's uncomfortable with his record, he should have a good old talk with himself.
Also, last night on Charles Adler's show, I believe that you said that you reached out and tried to set up a one-on-one debate between yourself and Jason Kenney. And it was your understanding that they didn't want that. Are you going to try and pursue that further, or is that just totally off the table now?
That was my understanding of the way the conversation went. I absolutely stand to be corrected, but that was, we had certainly reached out and suggested we would be happy to do that. My understanding is that it's kind of a dead option now.
The Alberta Party and the Liberals have both said that there's kind of this back and forth between you and Mr. Kenney, and that Albertans are kind of sick of this divisive rhetoric. How do you respond to that?
Well, you know, I appreciate that it's a very combative campaign and that it has been divisive. Unfortunately, though, the reason for that is, you know, I won't step away from calling out homophobia. I will not step away from calling out racism. I will not step away from pointing out that the fellow who wants to be premier, the people who are involved in his leadership race are currently talking to the RCMP, and there is an active investigation into an element of that leadership race, which is connected to his campaign. So these are things that people need to know about the person that is thinking about being premier. I mean, it just is what it is. I wish it wasn't divisive. The last campaign wasn't that way because that wasn't the history of the leaders who were running for office at that time.
2015 had a defining moment in the debate. And there's a poll out this week that shows you're still well back in Calgary. Did you need a knockout blow tonight to turn this tide?
You know, I think what I needed to do was to be able to talk to Albertans about our plan to diversify the economy, to create jobs, to bring the budget to balance in a responsible way while protecting their health care and their education, and making sure that when those 15,000 kids walk through the door next year, there's actually a teacher there to greet them. We don't have to give that up to create jobs. And that's my vision, and I'm really pleased that more people will have heard that today.
One last question, guys.
What do you have to do in the final 12 days to close the gap between you and Mr. Kenney? Because it's not clear what's working at this point.
Well, you know what? We're just going to continue to talk about these key issues. It is not, as I said, people who are worried about the economy, worried about jobs. I share that concern. I think about that every morning when I get up, every night when I go to bed. But it is not the case that people have to say, I'm so worried about jobs that I'm going to forget my better self and I'm going to turn a blind eye to what appears to be a party that is rife with people who have very, very disturbing views, which are deeply out of line with the values of Albertans. We can be the open, diverse, welcoming place that this province is, and focus on creating jobs, bring the budget into balance in a responsible way, and invest in our schools and our kids. And I think that tonight, Mr. Kenney had an opportunity to level with Albertans about the scandals that are plaguing his party, and he chose not to. He even denied that the RCMP is involved, and we all know that that is actually not correct.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Right here? Yeah. Hello.
How'd that go?
I thought awesome. I was very happy with the debate. I'd like to do another hour.
So on that note, actually, we heard that Rachel Notley's team perhaps may have reached out or tried to set up a one-on-one debate. Is that something that you'd be interested in before the end of the election campaign?
You know, we've only received, as far as I know, one formal debate proposal, which was from the consortium. A few days ago, she didn't even want to do that. So I don't know where the NDP is coming from. But I think we've done the debate now, and we're going to close the next 12 days of the campaign by taking it directly to Albertans.
What's going to be your focus for the next 12 days after this debate?
Really, you know, we've announced most of our policy commitments. We've revealed the most detailed platform, I believe, in Alberta political history. I'm told 375 commitments in a 117-page doorstopper, and so we'll continue to explain the substance of that positive plan for getting Alberta back to work in the next 12 days. And now we start, quite to be honest with you, to start focusing on things like getting the vote out. The advanced ballot, the advanced polling starts soon, and we want to make sure that Albertans who want change don't take anything for granted, and that they get out there and actually cast their votes. So I'll be spending a lot more time in the constituencies with our candidates, focused on events, and that's for me the next 12 days. I think what we set up here tonight was that this is a very clear choice between the NDP's totally failed economic record and their alliance with Justin Trudeau, and our plan to get the province back to work and stand up for Alberta. So I think that choice was absolutely clear tonight.
How did the Charles Adler debate last night prepare you for what you did tonight?
I don't think it did. I have a long-standing relationship with Charles, and I think you can see in that interview and in my hour-long press conferences that I'm not afraid to take tough questions and try to answer them to the best of my ability. I don't get everything right all the time, but I'm not somebody who ducks and hides from tough questions.
Notley said that she thought that tonight was a chance for you to sort of come clean about some of your candidates and about the RCMP investigation. She thinks you failed to do that. How do you respond?
Yeah, of course she does. And whenever the Premier talks about things like that, she's desperately trying to avoid talking about her failed economic record, the jobs crisis, the no pipelines, the $100 billion debt, her plan to raise the carbon tax by 67%. The NDP knows they cannot get re-elected if this election is about jobs, the economy, pipelines, and standing up to Trudeau. So they want to talk about anything else, and including the campaign of fear and smear. As I pointed out, we had New Democrats accusing a Nigerian immigrant who's running for us of being supporting white supremacy the other day. That's how ridiculous this name-calling is becoming. Look, I have the honor of leading the largest provincial political party in Canada, 160,000 members, with over a quarter of whose candidates identify themselves as members of visible minority or immigrant communities, every major faith community included. I've always said that we're going, that not all of our candidates and not I will be perfect. We'll make mistakes. But this is a party well within the mainstream of Alberta's political values, our belief in human dignity. The Premier at the end echoed my own view that we should judge people in Alberta not on the basis of their how they pray or who they love or where they were born, but on their content of their character and how they treat others. On that, she and I agree. Wow, somebody's avoiding me a 45-minute press conference. I've never had that before. Sorry, you were...
Was there anything tonight, do you think, that may have turned the tide in any direction, or was this a pretty ho-hum debate?
Oh, I think it was animated, but I hope there wasn't too much cross-talking for people. There was a bit of that. I thought it was a pretty good airing of major issues. Quite frankly, I would have preferred to have more focus on jobs, economy, pipelines, because the public tells us that's the top priority for sure. But I'll let the public decide. All I can tell you is I'm very happy that I was able to get my vision for a stronger Alberta economy into this debate. And I respect all three of my colleagues. I respect their public service, and I think Albertans are well served by having the leaders who are on the stage tonight.
I just wanted to know, Jason, what was it like to get pummeled by all three of those other leaders in the area with how you handled Mr. Smith? In fact,
I think I was very clear. I think I was very clear that we are a party that reflects the broad mainstream values of Albertans. I'd like to remind you that I've been elected in this province, I think 8 times with on average 72% of the vote. I think that's the definition of somebody who's in the political mainstream. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
You want me to give a dissertation or something like this? You want me to sing? Well, hello, Dolly. Anyway, it's your show to ask questions. So
How did that go?
it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was, but also watching a couple of children fight too, but it was fun. Yeah, I was watching a couple of kids fight, and we were trying to put ideas out of where we need to take the province. So it was enjoyable. It was a good experience. You know, so now fight to the end and all the way to the 16th.
The Alberta Party has been behind in the polls. Do you think this debate will turn the tide at all?
Absolutely. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be at 100%. Everybody's going to vote for us tomorrow. We'll be amazing. You'll look out tomorrow and they'll be, oh my God, 100% of the vote. We think it's going to make a big difference. People need to see who we are, and I think this was an opportunity. I think we did reasonably well. I'm quite pleased, and I really enjoyed it. So.
Why did you go without a tie or bow tie today? You've got a more casual look here. I'm curious as to your choices there.
Well, because we wanted to test the bow tie concept. You know, everybody says, where's the bow tie? Where's the bow tie? And so we decided to fool around a little bit, not put a bow tie on. But tomorrow, it's back.
You and Mr. Khan got into some back and
Well,
forth there.
yeah.
Any concerns that kind of the Liberal Party could take away votes from you guys?
No, they're not running enough candidates. I don't think so. I mean, people are going to vote. We hope they vote for us, and we hope our platform. We got incredible candidates. I think one of the things that people need to look at is the team you're bringing together, and that's something that seems to be forgotten all the time. We have an incredible group of people. I know I keep telling everybody to go to albertaparty.ca and look at the people we have running for us. They're remarkable people. We have doctors and lawyers and former judges and engineers. I mean, we have, without question, the greatest candidates, the 3 or 4 parties, by far the best. And if you look at some of our people, they're amazing. And I think that's the difference, the biggest difference between us and the other 3 parties, or 2 parties, because, you know, David doesn't have that many candidates, is that we have remarkable people, and I'm so proud of them. And I think that's the difference.
Khan said you were on the radio talking about privatizing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea where that came from.
Could you just sort of expand on that?
I have no idea. I have no idea where you got that from, because I can tell you there's no one in my life I've ever said but not supporting public health. I mean, our public health system, and I have a lot of experience in it. Even now, I have anyway, I'm not going to go into that, but it is so important. You know, if you have a sick child or you have a sick family member, in this province, you will get great care. And we're fortunate to have the system here that's so remarkable. But that's about public health care. We also then need, as I said earlier, we have to do other things. We can't just fall on our laurels. The sickest people do get care, but we have to find ways to do things better. So I don't want to get in this diatribe about the health care, but you know, I'm passionate about public health care system. It's what makes Canada different. It's what makes people want to live in this country.
What are the next 12 days going to look like for the
Work my butt off. I want to go across the province. So we're busy tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then people vote.
Any more fun announcements, like an automated corridor?
Well, we might make an announcement creating something special just for you.
What's a realistic goal for the Alberta Party? I know you're running for Premier, running to win that, but realistically, I mean, we're looking at single digits. Is it returning the members you have, or is it growing your party?
You know, I think we'll see and let the voters make a decision. We're not going to predict. We think there's been a gradual change and a shift in how the public are looking at Mr. Kenney's party and Ms. Notley's party, and we're the only option. We think people will begin to move to our party, and we think we can elect a fair number of people. How many that will be determined on April 16th. You know, I'm not going to predict, but I hope it's 45. It's a good number. I wish I was 45. So.
Last question.
Last question. Okay. Yeah, I did have a heck of a lot of fun. Sorry, a heck of a lot of fun. Yeah, it was. You know, it was heated. You know, I was a bit surprised at some of the childishness, but it was fun. You know, it's fun to do it, and maybe we'll do it again sometime.
What was childish about it?
Oh, just the 2 of them fighting back and forth. I thought that, you know, anyway. So that's just my way of being. But anyway, it's you know, I hope people enjoyed it. You know, I hope people learned about all the parties, and now it's back on the trails and knocking on doors, because I have to win a race in McClung too. So I've got to win my riding. So I've got to work double hard. I got to work on the road, and I got to work in my riding. So thank you all very, very much. Appreciate everything you're doing. Keep up the good work, and we'll see you soon.
This way?
Hi.
You talked a lot about sort of things being used in political footballs. You talked about divisiveness and kind of looked like you were looking at what was going on between Rachel Notley and Jason Kenney. Maybe you were a little bit, I don't know, you're a little bit sad about it. I think you used that word at that point. What was that about? I mean, what were you seeing in the debate there?
Well, it's been going on for months and really for the last year or two, is using gay youth as political footballs, passing laws to politicize the issue, then saying we're going to repeal laws. These leaders are too focused on attacking each other and not focused enough on vulnerable children in our society. And that does make me sad, because as politicians, we should be doing better. We should be providing the real solutions that Albertans need, not just attacking each other and using vulnerable youth to do it.
So for your part, how do you feel things went for you? It's obviously the polls haven't been super in favor of the Liberals. Do you think that things might have changed for you now?
Yeah, I think I had a great debate. I really enjoyed it. I hope that Albertans understand more about where I'm coming from, the great solutions that we have for the real problems that we're facing, that we need someone with forward-thinking vision that can actually address these issues. It was clear from this debate that the other leaders, the other parties, are out of new ideas. We've got the bold, innovative ideas to really address the real challenges that we're all facing.
What's a realistic seat count for you guys, do you think?
I'm not going to speculate too much. I would like to have 5 to 10 and really make a difference in this next legislature.
You went after the Alberta Party leader a little bit on healthcare and a couple other items. Do you see the Alberta Party as your major competition?
Not really, but I'm concerned that they're just a retread of the old PC party, that they don't have any new ideas. They're talking about self-driving car lanes, canola. I mean, these are not real solutions for the real problems that we're facing. They aren't serious about climate change. They don't have any tax reform policy. So I was just pointing out that the Alberta Party is. No one really knows what they stand for, but it seems that they're just another PC party.
Mandel denied talking on the radio about privatizing parts of the healthcare system, but you said that you heard it.
Greg Clark. I heard Greg Clark on QR77 a week or two ago, who said he would not close the door to privatizing the healthcare system. I heard it with my own ears.
David, how do you think the stories about the candidates in the UCP is resonating with the electorate, if at all? We've had a series of candidates, the latest being Mr. Smith and his comments. So I'm wondering what your sense is of how people are viewing this.
Well, I think people are concerned, and rightly so, about the UCP, about its leadership, about its candidates, even about its elected MLAs now. And they're concerned that the UCP government would turn back the clock on Alberta and turn us back decades. We need to move forward together as a society. We need to protect our vulnerable youth, invest in education, right our healthcare system, bring us back on a strong fiscal and financial footing. And economists are saying that we have the plan to do that. So rather than bickering and fighting and talking about the very scary and unacceptable comments that so many people around Mr. Kenney have made, Albertans want to know that we're looking forward and we've got real solutions.
Longstanding belief in Alberta is if you run on a sales tax, it's the death knell for a party. Why do you guys think now is the time to bring this up?
Because Albertans are telling me that they know that we can't continue on this resource roller coaster. And the difference is that we actually have a plan that was fully developed by Jack Mintz that's based on a 50 or 60-page paper. It's revenue neutral. We're eliminating income taxes for 70% of Albertans. Most people will pay no income tax under our plan. But we all know, and economists know, that taxing consumption hurts the economy less than taxing hard work, taxing salaries, taxing savings. So we're just replacing income tax with a sales tax, which is the way to grow the economy. People like Trevor Toome have written articles, opinion pieces this past week lauding our plan.
Are you calling it an HST rather than a PST so no one can say political suicide tax?
We're calling it the hospitals and schools tax because that's what the revenue is going to pay for. We need strong, stable, predictable revenue to pay for the health care and education that Albertans deserve.
What are your priorities for the next 12 days?
Getting out there, meeting as many voters in Calgary Mountain View as I can, getting the message out that we've got the best policies, and we're not done yet. Our platform is being updated on our website on a daily basis, and we've got more bold ideas to present to Albertans in the next week, so I'm really excited about the next week here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.